Hello, my name's Liz Rowlinson. I'm editor of Place in the Sun, and I'm here with MASA International and some very happy property buyers. This is a webinar in our series of what's behind a successful viewing trip with MASA International. It's a very successful way of finding a property with people in Spain, and we're gonna go through some tips, what you can buy, meet Kate and Andy, who can talk us through their experience. So I'm with Paul Payne, Kerry Dixon. I'm with Kate and Andy Cave. Good day.
Morning, how are you? All right.
So we're going to be talking about how you offer viewing trips, Paul. Would you like just to kick off and tell us about MASA, about how you set up viewing trips?
Yes, so my name's Paul Payne to start with, and I work for MASA International, who are a real estate company based on the Costa Blanca since 1981. And we help people to find second homes, permanent move to Spain, retirement. For any motivation of buying a property in Spain, and particularly Costa Blanca and the Murcia area. And the most common way we help people to find a property is via the means of a viewing trip, which is a tailor-made tour of the area and properties where we take care of everything: flights, hotel, transport, the services of one of our property advisors, who you're going to meet in a moment. And essentially we show people around the area and line up the right properties, locations, and make the right introductions for our customers, with the aim of helping them finding the right place, in the place that they're looking for in the area.
Thank you, Paul. And Kerry, you are actually a former buyer that's now gone over to the other side, so to speak.
I am, yes. So I was in the same position as Kate and Andy about 4 years ago, and I spoke to Paul through a Zoom meeting, and and the rest is history. I joined MASA about 3 years ago, and loving the job.
It's funny on that. I just add what Kerry said is we had an initial Zoom, much like this, except
we did.
Not recorded, where we had a chat through Kerry's kind of wishes and plans and such. And even from that moment, I thought, oh, Kerry, this person would be great working for us. She's ever so good, and it's exactly like many of our customers. And yeah, a few years later, here we are. So. Yeah, watch out, Kate and Andy.
I was going to say, maybe this is an interview for Kate and Andy. So anyway, so Kate and Andy, your journey began at, I think I'm right in saying this, in Place in the Sun in Birmingham. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I think it was October last year. We went to the Place in the Sun exhibition in Birmingham and went to the MASA stand and met Kerry. But first of all, we spoke to somebody else, and he was like on the MASA stand, and he was like, Hoffer, that's Kerry, and went and got there, and there we were.
Brilliant. Well, just a little bit of
the place we went to actually during that day. Yeah, and we went back and actually spoke to Kerry later on. So
she is very, very hot on Hoffer. Yeah. So just a little bit of background about yourselves, if that just sort of going back even a step, if that's all right. I think you're from Wiltshire, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And you're both still working with quite demanding jobs. And
what?
No, I've finished.
Oh, sorry. That's just Kate. Okay.
Yeah, she works hard.
And you'd like a holiday. You wanted a holiday home in Spain. Just tell us, what was your dream about what you were hoping to achieve?
We've loved Spain for like years. My grandparents lived in Spain. My mum had a place. My brother lives in Spain, and we just love it. I am a bit obsessed with watching anything to do with Spain. And yeah, we've always just really wanted to have a place there. And the time was right, with Andy finishing work, with getting some inheritance, with our kids being a bit older. We're like, let's do it.
And what made you think Costa Blanca?
Well, our time on holidays with Kate's brother is, Costa del Sol. So we were looking, obviously did our research at various places, looking around, and that is just a more expensive area. Mm-hmm. So, where we're looking at now, Hoffer and the surrounding areas, they were essentially within our price range sensibly. So
we also we wanted somewhere with life and things going on, definitely, but not necessarily like right in the middle of a massively touristy hotspot. I know it gets busier in the summer, but, you know, not somewhere that's really super only touristy.
Yeah, got you. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, the Costa Blanca is so popular at the moment because it does offer more value than the Costa del Sol. Did you, when you were thinking about, you'd looked online, you'd watched the TV programs, did you think about trying to sort of go out to the Costa Blanca and look yourself and meet some estate agents? Was that ever something you thought about?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what we thought we would do. And that would have been the plan for this year. But yeah, we didn't get to that because we did a MASA trip first and it happened. So yeah, that was the plan before, yes.
Okay. I mean, yeah, Paul, I mean, you know, that is the eternal question, isn't it? Do people go out and look and meet separate estate agents, or do they go out and get looked after by one particular agent? What's your, you know, how do people choose?
Well, you know, we look after people sort of doing both of those things. I mean, certainly it helped more people on viewing trips and than people just coming out by themselves. I think that's one of the sort of common mistakes that buyers can make, or certainly it makes it a little bit harder for customers if they're just coming alone, because what happens is that you'll come to Spain, maybe book an apartment or a hotel for a week, make lots of appointments with different agents over the course of that week. And essentially, particularly if you're looking for a new property, you're just going to be looking at the same things, you know, or you're likely to have things repeated over several meetings with different agents. So there's kind of no need to do that really, because if you have one agent that you're comfortable with, that you feel is going to look after you, they'll have access to all of those properties anyway, or at least they certainly should have. And secondly, if you're just making appointments with lots of agents, the problem there is you're only viewing properties. So once there's not much an agent can do with you if they're just with you for a day, other than just show you properties. We feel, and I'd be interested to know if Kate and Andy feel the same way, that, you know, it's almost more important to find the location really and be comfortable with where it is, rather than the house is the kind of the easy part. It's the finding the right spot that helps, and by being on a viewing trip and being with someone such as Kerry, who, you know, look after you for a few days, there's a bit of relationship building going on there, and getting to understand maybe what kind of area the customer might like. So we can just do a bit more with a customer and go a bit more in depth and introduce customers to people who live in the area, and just really it becomes a bit more comfortable, I think, that way, and takes a bit of stress off. And plus, you're with someone who knows where they're going for a start. You know, that's kind of half the battle, that you're not spending all the time looking at a map or trying to work out exactly where you've got to drive to and negotiating the driving and such in Spain and the new area. So having someone that knows where they're going and is going to give you that little bit of extra time to really introduce you to the area in a little bit more depth. And that's why viewing trips tend to be a very successful way of actually finding a property in Spain.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Place in the Sun TV program, where you get to know the people as they see properties. And like Kerry, in your case, you'll be sort of seeing what they don't like. Then you might be changing tack. And, you know, you don't get that with these sort of one-off appointments, do you?
No.
So Kerry, how do you prepare for a viewing trip when you've got clients like Kate and Andy coming over?
So I guess the initial discussion that you have at an exhibition, the most information you can get out of people, in Kate and Andy's case, you know, it's, you know, what do you like, what do you don't like, what do you like to do when you're on holiday, you know, what kind of property are you looking for? In their case, they didn't want to be in too much of a tourist area, but they wanted life. So, you know, one of the days we did pick the Ciudad Quesada and the Benihoffer and the Rojales area, and I kind of instantly knew, having had that initial discussion with them at the exhibition, that they would really like Benihoffer. So we did a day of looking at properties around that area, and that's the one they chose. But it's really important to get as much upfront information as possible and get to know what they want in order to do that planning when you do the planning for the trip.
Thank you. And likewise, I mean, Kate and Andy, how did you sort of think about, how did you prepare for the trip? Did you make little lists of things that you were gonna wish lists? You know, how was that for you?
Yeah, I had a little book, the things that were really important, like how far from the airport, how far to walk to places. There were lots more than that. How far from the beach, well, that wasn't a really important thing.
Transfer time and things.
Yeah, and we had the things that were really important, like how much area around the pool. Kerry probably didn't want to hear that, because that was just our main thing. We got, oh, this one's perfect, but there's no area around the pool, so no. So that was our main thing. So yeah, we had a list of things that were really important.
We kind of started off as well, because obviously watching Place in the Sun quite a lot. That was a regular thing on our sofa, many nights, and I was particularly myself looking at properties that are probably more inland than where we decided to land up. I like the mountain views and things, but we sort of quickly realised, watching the programmes and doing our research, that you are limited to what you've got out and about. You know, you might have a bar 20 minutes away. What if that shuts or you don't get on with the person there? You know, you could be quite limited on what you've got there. So this is why we decided where we did. You know, it's a good mix where we are of people. We've not been there in the summer yet, but obviously we'll know this year. So,
but yeah, we had a list of about 20 things that were questions and the things that were most important to us.
Brilliant. And how did you find the trip? I mean, I believe MASA you've got the MASA hotel now, for example, you stayed in.
Yeah, I think the trip was brilliant. I have to say, we were before, I never thought I'd do anything like that. I think we've all been on like a all-inclusive holiday where they get you somewhere and you listen and get sold to. And I probably did have the misconception it might be a bit like that. So I was a bit like, oh, I don't know, but let's just go for it. But it wasn't like that in the slightest. They look after you really, really well from the minute you get to the airport, to the hotel. All the days are really, really useful. And yeah, Kerry really listened to everything that we wanted. Yeah, I think the trip was amazing. I'd recommend it to anybody. And it wasn't just the property, like Paul said, it was all the other things, like how much your bills are likely to cost and taking you to meet the solicitor. And
yeah, that was a fantastic part, because that's obviously something we wouldn't know where to start with that. And the day we went down to there, and I think it was the NIE we were sorting out with the lawyer. And yeah, fantastic. That's something obviously going back on your own would be a bit of a nightmare. So yeah, that was really
we'll come on to the aftercare. But so what made you decide on the particular property you bought?
I think we both knew the minute we got there that was the one. And actually, I'd scrolled past it online because I don't love the way it looks, and I don't know why the builder loves brown windows. And a few things that just wouldn't. So I'd scrolled past it online, and I still would. I still do, because I still go online all the time just to have a little look. So I would have scrolled past it, but it was where it was and the whole outlook, the whole development, and that big area outside, really. And it was an area that Andy definitely wanted.
Can you tell us a bit how many bedrooms? What can you describe it for us?
Yes, it's like a bungalow with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, like an open plan living, dining, kitchen area, pool area with quite a big area outside, and then steps outside up to solarium.
Yeah, nice. And I know Kerry's obviously, and the team have you've already sort of dealt with this build before, and you said before we went there that it was quite a high standard of build. And you were there, Kerry, so you know, when we walked through the doors, there were, like Kate said, a couple that she was taken by, but that one we both walked in, and I think you probably knew then as well, as well as us.
How many properties had you seen before you saw that one?
That was early on. I reckon that was probably about the 4th one. Maybe it was on the first day. But then we went back there the next day after we'd done our looking at the others, and then we went back again the next day. I'm like, yeah, that's definitely the one. So yeah, it was early on in our search. And then we did try to go to the other ones with an open mind. And some of them were more maybe what I'd pictured, like some of the ones on golf courses, a bit white, bit bling, looked a bit more Love Islandy. I'm like, I like these, but actually they weren't where I wanted them. We were where we wanted them, so we kept going back to that one.
It sounds like you weren't sort of spun by the sort of the bling or the something. You remained very rooted in what was important to you.
I think you're a bit surprised, weren't we? It's not normally what I do.
No, well, there's one thing we did say before we came out. We've obviously got a budget of, that could be moved slightly. We did look at the other properties, but we did stay firm to what we actually, our list, if you like, of what we wanted, and it sort of fitted in with most of it. So it is a fantastic area. Yeah.
Brilliant. Paul, you've got, I think we're going to have a little look at something that's similar, because I mean, can you just talk us through a bit about the sort of property that MASA's, there's obviously quite a lot of choices that Kate and Andy alluded to, but what's available?
Well, I think we do one better than that. We can actually show you the show house that I think you went to, although the show houses do change. So we have a video of the same model, which you can have in a 2 or 3 bedrooms. I think at the moment they're selling as a 3-bedroom single level villa, which we call the Azahar in the Rochalis Benikofer area. So yeah, we're going to have a look at the video of that in a moment. In terms of other things that we sell, I mean, we specialize in new modern homes. We do also have resale properties as well, but we're quite known for our sort of new modern homes. So anything from apartments through to small detached villas, larger detached properties near the coast, inland. So most kind of environments that people may be after, we cover. So, and with the help of my colleagues in Spain, such as Kerry, they're able to, listen to the customer and whittle down the ones that may be looking at and the locations. But yeah, today I've got to show you one property, and of course, I'm sure we're all interested to see what Kate and Andy plumped for. So we're gonna have a look at a property that's going to be very similar to the one that they've purchased and will be moving into very soon. So yeah, should we have a look at the Villa Azahar in Rochalis? So yeah, this despite on the video it may flag 2 bedrooms, because you do have an option to have it as 2 bedrooms with bigger rooms. In fact, it's a 3-bedroom villa, and at the moment these are starting from 404,000 euros, which is about £347,000 on the exchange rate at the moment. So yeah, let's have a look.
Perfect. I love the way it's all very slick and modern. Did you, in terms of buying a new build, was that part of the appeal, Kate and Andy?
Yeah, definitely. It was something that we did look at property in the past, and we were looking at resales and things, but we wanted really sort of after the purchase, the idea of having at least 10 years of hassle-free, you know, building over there. So that's really what we were going for, and the new build was what we chose for. So.
Yeah, I mean, you've got energy efficiency, you've got lack of hassle with a new build, that sort of blank canvas. Did you get a furniture package for it? Well, will you do so?
We're coming over in July, so we're going to look at furniture and everything then. So
perfect.
So
Great.
that's also something part of, I guess, when you come over in July, or also something that MASA does assist customers with. You know, we'll literally take your furniture shopping.
Yeah, one of your colleagues, I can't remember her name, so she's been in touch with me and said about that. So yeah.
Oh, they love that, taking you around. Nice thing. Quite often you spend more time choosing the furniture than you will the house. You know, there's so much choice. Yeah.
And what about the running costs on a property like this? I don't know whether you know that, Kate and Andy, or whether I need to defer to Paul on that.
Well, Paul probably knows better, but we did go through them with Kerry. We think it'll be about £3,000 a year.
Yeah.
Kerry's probably a good one to answer that, because you live very nearby in a not terribly dissimilar sort of size property as well. So.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, similar to my property, you know, it's around about 100 euros on average if you take it over the 12 months on electricity, and your water's every 3 months. That's around 120, and yeah, I think we'd worked it out about £3,000. You know, but obviously I live here permanently, and Kate and Andy it's a holiday home, so obviously the costs are going to be a little bit different.
I like the fact the council tax there for a year is what we pay in a month. That's my favourite bit.
Yeah.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? And people do love to know all these details, because it is very relevant. I mean, it's, you know, £3,000 is not so much in the big scheme of running costs for some properties in some places, but it is something to budget for, isn't it?
Well, Kerry was very good towards the end of our stay there, our visit. We did go through all those things, and she was, you know, really, really helpful with the information that we received for that.
Yeah, I think we went through literally everything, and yeah,
yeah.
literally, I think it was about 2,700 or something. I haven't got it in front of me, but yeah, I think that was everything down to your broadband and yeah, everything.
Well, it sounds like you'd very much recommend the viewing trip concept.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, definitely. I couldn't recommend it anymore. It was absolutely brilliant, all of it, and yeah, so informative, really useful, really friendly, and yeah, there isn't any hard sell at all. So yeah, definitely recommend it.
Yeah, nothing was pushed at all. That was what I was concerned about. Like Kate said, you know, Kerry was more than professional, friendly, very helpful.
Great. And then when you actually decided you wanted it, there was those other details that you had sorted out that you referred to just a bit earlier, like the NIE number. Did you have to, like, things like setting up a bank account, things like that?
We did the NIE number then. I think we're going to do the bank account when we come out in July.
Right. Cool.
I think after, so I was going to say, on all of these little things that are important that need doing, through our after sales department, they'll have like a calendar, so they'll know when the bank account needs to be opened, when the NIE number needs to be applied for, when do we need to start looking at furniture and such. So they will prompt the customer, and of course, you know, we manage all of that as well and help to get all of that sorted. So that's another thing, a few things that you haven't got to worry about yourself. So that'll be taken care of in conjunction with the after sales department.
Perfect. And Kerry, I mean, how anyone listening might be thinking, the viewing trip sounds very useful. How might people prepare to, if they're going to do a viewing trip? You know, should they be at a certain stage where they know at least the sort of rough area? How do they contemplate it?
I think going onto the MASA website it's got quite a lot of good resources on there. It's a useful tool, because obviously not only we've got webinars on there, we've got videos on, you know, talking to lawyers, and you know, we've got area guides on there. So that's quite a good way of researching before you come out. Obviously, having all your ducks in a row, i.e. your finances, that's quite important as well, because obviously a lot of people don't believe that they think they're just coming out and they're having an area tour, but obviously, as in a lot of people's cases, they see the property they really, really like. So it's really important to have your finances ready, because obviously they move quite quickly in Spain, and this buying process is a lot faster than it is in the UK. And also be quite open-minded. So, you know, put your trust in the person that's going to show you around, because they are more experts on the area. They know where they're taking you. Sometimes they might take you out your comfort zone, and it's nice to see areas that, you know, you're not familiar with, and, you know, but you know, so be kind of open-minded on the area and the property type. That's really important as well.
Brilliant, thank you. And what about you, Kate and Andy? Do you have any tips for people that after having gone through the process?
You go first.
I'd agree with what Kerry said, really. I think you have got to be ready to go, because you'll see the one you want, and I know they go really quickly, a lot of them. So I guess it's about being ready to go. And I think Andy was probably a bit more hesitant. I'm like, no, we want that one, so we have to do it now. And yeah, to have done your research, you've got some idea, but like Kerry says, to be open-minded, because it might not be what you think. Like I said, you know, our property wasn't one that I would have necessarily said, oh, can we go and look at that one? So have some ideas about what's important to you. And like I said, distance from the airport, distance from amenities, the key things about the property, like area around the pool and having a solarium, probably more than the inside for us. So have some key things that you really want, but be open as well.
And one of the things I did say before we finished, and we had the night before we sort of decided to go for it, you know, I am a big firm believer in sort of buying once and buying well. We're buying a property in Spain, which is a huge amount of money, and you don't want in 5 years' time to turn around and think, well, it's actually not quite. We would rather have been somewhere else. And obviously, as you all know, buying and selling in Spain, you know, is quite expensive with the taxes and stuff. So that would be one of my recommendations to, you know, to make sure if you're gonna go for it, I would.
Yeah, because first of all, you said about getting an apartment somewhere and then seeing and then moving. We're like, yeah, that's just a waste of money. Let's just do it.
No, that's a really good point, Andy, and also about future proofing. I mean, how do you picture using this property when you take possession of it and it's finished? How often will you use it a year? Do you think you'll spend longer periods there, or even move out there eventually?
I don't think we're ever actually going to live there and move out there permanently, but we will obviously, as we progress, spend more and more time there. We've got a couple of teenage girls, Holly and Libby, that are an age now where they're old enough to even probably come out on their own. So our family can use it when we're not, or if I'm not there, with permission. Yeah, we will use it. I'll probably go out a bit before when Kate finishes her work for holidays. I'll go out before and maybe spend a bit of time there beforehand.
Clean it, do shopping,
yeah,
get it ready for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think all my holidays from work now, so like 8 weeks a year, we'll go probably in lots for about a week or maybe a couple of weeks in the summer, and then yeah, maybe as things change, go for longer periods as time goes on.
Brilliant. And yeah, Andy, again, you mentioned having teenagers. I mean, that's a really good point, that people, when often choosing a holiday home, they want to have somewhere where their teenagers, young adults can actually, there's enough going on that they'll be able to go off. Was that a consideration as well?
No, definitely, 100%. I mean, we obviously looked at Bernihoffer, went down, and we spent a night down there. A little bit of an issue getting a taxi back to the hotel, but that's no one's fault. And it was raining. It was January, so no, we looked at Bernihoffer's great, because I think our properties, and Casada's just the other side. That's another 10 minutes the other side of where we are, and it's easy enough walk into both areas, and I would be more than happy for our kids to to venture out on their own. I mean, one's 18, one's 15, so they're not small, so they'll manage fine. And we were looking at places like that, and yeah, perfectly great.
It'll just open up a whole exciting new chapter in your family, won't it, having this house?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Very exciting. So you're going out next, you mentioned in July, I think, Kate.
Yeah, so we're renting a house on the development we're buying, somebody that's already bought and already got it. So we're renting that. So that would be good to be right where we're at. And then, yeah, meeting up with an after sales lady from MASA to look at some of the fixtures and fittings, like the tiles in the kitchen and all of that, and get a bank account and look at furniture and things, and have a bit of a holiday and get to know the area a bit more as well.
And then you actually get it in October, was that right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
brilliant. Have you got a holiday booked for that time?
Not yet, but yeah, we'll go over there for like all of October half term, and depending on when we get the keys, like if that's earlier in October, we'll go early for a little bit and then come back and then go for a couple of weeks at half term. I have to see how the timing works out.
Perfect. And I think you also used Place in the Sun currency in your buying process.
Yeah, that's how we paid our first instalment in April, was using Place in the Sun currency. Yeah.
We like to see that. So thank you, Paul. How do people go about booking a viewing trip with you if they're keen to follow Kate and Andy's example?
Sure, well, you can get in touch with myself via the number on your screen, or via our website, masainternational.com. And a good place to start is either a meeting. We'll either meet at one of the the many exhibitions across the UK, or we can arrange a Zoom call or a telephone call and have a little chat about your requirements. And then once we've established what we can go and have a look at and make a little plan, the next step is a viewing trip, and we'll take care of that. We run them throughout the year. Pause a little bit in August where it gets a bit hot and a lot of the builders are on holiday. But other than that, we have daily departures, so we can usually manage to bring people over at a time that suits them. So yeah, just get in touch with us via masainternational.com or the number on the screen.
How much notice do you need to arrange a trip, Paul?
Oh, well, I met somebody yesterday at one of our shows, and I'll be arranging a trip for them for 3 days' time. So it just depends. There are some times where we are at capacity, we can't take any more people. So, well, try us. Ideally, we'd like a couple of weeks' notice so we can prepare very well, but it's not always that much notice. And the other hand is you don't want to book it too far in advance either, because if you have a very specific idea on what you want, properties change too much, so you wouldn't want to book too far in advance. But a couple of weeks would be perfect, but whatever it takes.
Brilliant, thank you. Well, I think we've covered a lot, unless there's anything else you'd like to add, Kerry?
No, nothing from me.
Will I be seeing MASA at a Place in the Sun exhibition in London?
Yes, you will.
You will. You'll see us. Yeah, familiar faces there.
Brilliant. Well, look, thank you, Kate and Andy. Hope to meet up with you guys and hear about how it's going at some point, maybe back in Birmingham again, where it all started or whatever. So I hope that's been really useful for everyone. Paul, people can get in touch with the details you suggest. Kerry, many thanks for sharing your tips again, and thank you, Kate and Andy, and good luck with your brilliant new home in Spain.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you.
Bye bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.